Hello guys, it's Adamola from SPSSBoss.com. In this lecture, we're going to be looking at how to enter data into SPSS. This lecture is one of the series in how to use SPSS, so if you're interested in learning how to use SPSS, you can check out the playlist for more videos. A lot of people find it difficult to enter data into SPSS, but in this lecture, I'm going to simplify the process and look at a couple of different questions that will allow you to understand how you can enter your questionnaire into SPSS. First, we have to switch to the variable view. For those of you who are using the Windows, just click on Ctrl T to switch to the variable view, and for those of you who are using a Mac, you can press on Command T. So Command T, I'm going to go to the Windows view. For this variable, what is your class standing? The name I'm going to give to it in SPSS in the variable view is class standing. You have to specify the type. From A to F, I'm going to give it a number of 1, 2, 3 all the way down to 6. So here, the data type is going to be numeric. If I was to record it exactly how they are here as a non-matriculated freshman, then we're going to be using a string variable. But here we're using numeric because we're using number as an identifier for all the different labels we have here. So we click on OK. The width will be the number of numbers you would have, which is 8 in this case, but you don't actually need 8 because the number will only be just one decimal place, which is 1 to 6. And your decimal place, you can have 2 decimal places, but I like to keep the data clean, so I put it on 0. In the label we just give a more detailed description of the name of the variable. So here, let's just call it what is your class standing, which is the exact way we have it in the questionnaire. Values, this is where we're going to put in each of these options we have here. So we're just going to click on here. 1 is going to be non-matriculated, 2 is freshman, 3 is sophomore, 4 is junior, 5 is senior, and 6 is graduate. And then you click on OK. Now here in the missing, if you have missing value, SPSS allows you to specify if your data is missing or not. I'm just going to show you how to enter the data, but you have missing value. You can just come over here, select discrete, and put a number that you can easily identify if you have missing. So for example, you can put 9999. That's to identify the missing, or you can put another numbers that suit you. And you can also fill this out so you can have a range of values for your missing value in SPSS, and you can just click OK. In the measurement type, obviously, you would know that there are 3 levels of measurement in SPSS. Nominal means it is categorical, but there's no rank between the different categories. Ordinal means it is categorical, but there's a rank between the different categories. Scales means you know that the distance between your variables are fixed and the origin is fixed. What do I mean by that? For example, if you look at the difference between $10 and $20, it is the same thing as the difference between $20 and $30. So when you're asking for the participant exact value in numeric, in numbers, then you're going to be using a scale. For example, if we ask them for their income in thousands, or we ask them how many hours do you work weekly, that's a scale variable. This question, you might think is nominal because we have all these non-matriculated freshmen, but you can see there's an indication of other. Someone that is a graduate is higher on the scale than senior, and senior is higher than junior, and all the way down to non-matriculated, which means that they didn't even make it to freshman. So here we're going to have ordinal data, and that's it. You can change your alignment here to left, right, or center, whichever suits you. We just leave it as the default. Now let's move on to the second question. If you have a job, how many hours per week do you work? So we code this as hours per week. It's a numeric variable again. We leave it at that, and decimal places reduce to 0, and we can put in the labels hours you work per week. Now that's it there. Now in the values here, you have to specify a number for each of the options you have given to your participant. So 1 is going to be 1 to 14 hours, 2 is going to be 15 to 24 hours, 3 is going to be 25 to 34 hours, 4 is going to be 35 plus hours, and I do not have a job. What would you do with that? You will have put it at 5, but we'll put it at 0. Why? Because that means that that person works 0 hours. And because we know that this type of variable, which is rank, there is a meaningful rank between each of the levels. This one is not meant to be 5, because if we give this 5, it will mean that that 5 is higher on the scale than all the other ones. So we give 0 to the person who said, I do not have a job, which is equivalent to 0 hours a week, or they don't work at all. So we click on OK. We just go over, we change this variable type to ordinal data again. Now let's move on to the next one. Do you take day or evening classes? So let's put as day or evening. Let's just give it a label. Do you have day or evening classes? Now this is how you code your variable in SPSS. It's very straightforward once you know exactly what you're doing. Here we just have 1 as day and 2 as evening, or you can use 0 and 1 depending on what suits you the most. So we put in day and evening. That's it. Now let's just change that. I can see there's a typo there. I'm a perfectionist, so I like to make sure everything is fine. We change this. Is it ordinal? No. There is no indication of order. Even though you might say day, evening, day comes before evening or evening comes before day. It depends on how you're looking at it. There is no indication of order between day and evening. Day is not better than evening and evening is not better than day. It depends on the type of person you are. So this is the nominal data because there is no meaningful rank between day and evening. But there is a meaningful rank between 1 to 14 hours, 15 to 24 hours as we have it for the ordinal data. Let's move on to the fourth question. The time demand for the homework of a typical course at the 200 level are, you can see this question already, it's less than 2 hours, between 2 to 5 hours. This is another ordinal data because there's a meaningful rank between our 4 categories we have here. Actually it's 5, there's another one here. So here we will just say time demand and that's it there. And then we can just give it a label. I'm not going to put the label, it's going to be too long. 1 is less than 2 hours per week. 2 is between 2 to 5, 2 and 5. 3 is between 5 and 10. And then 4 is between 10 and 15. And 15 and 5 is more than 15 hours. We click OK, that's a ordinal data as well. There's a meaningful rank. Now for this type of question, the assignment in class are relevant to the objective of the class, help me grow intellectually, not relevant to the objective. This type of question, there is no meaningful rank between our options because it's basically a nominal data. So that when each of our participants, if we label this 1 to 5, if someone say, all the people that say excessive, they will get a value of 5. So we're going to give the variable a name that we can easily identify. Assignment characteristics, let's call it that. It's numeric variable, reduce the decimal so you don't have too many decimals. Now in the options, you can just put 1 is relevant to the objective of the course. 2, help me grow intellectually. 3 is not relevant to the objective. 4 is there are no assignments. 5 is excessive. As you can see, this variable, there is no meaningful rank between our categories. We have 5 different categories. So this variable is nominal data. The grading in L classes is, so grading. Let's call this grading and then we look at the options there. Always fair, that's the first option. Usually fair, sometimes fair, rarely fair, so that's 4 is rarely fair, and 5 is never fair. As you can see, there's a meaningful rank between all the different levels. Always fair, usually fair, sometimes fair, rarely fair, never fair. We know that this is ordinal as well. When you have such a variable where there's a meaningful rank between your different categories that you've specified, you know that it's ordinal data. In general, the graded assignment exam in your class were returned within how many class meetings? So this is asking them how many class meetings. So it might be 2, 3, 4, or 5. This is a scale because we're asking them for the specific number. We call this graded assignment return. There is no label because we know that the participant themselves have to specify the option. So we call it a scale variable. Have you participated in a study abroad program? So we call that participated in study abroad. All your variable coding is going to happen in the variable view, but when you want to put in the data for each of your respondents, you will do that in the data view, and we will look at that in a second. Let's keep going and finish this questionnaire because I want to make it as realistic as possible, which is exactly what you're going to be doing. You're going to be entering your data in SPSS. So now let's give the options. So 1 is once, 2 is twice or more times, 3 is never, and that's it. We're done with this one. There is an indication of order between once, twice, and never, and actually never is supposed to be 0 because it's the lowest on that scale. Always remember to make sure you put it the way it makes sense. So 0 is lower than 1 and 1 is lower than 2. Perfect. We have it right. You can just put in here, it's an ordinal data, because there's categories and the category is ranked. Do you plan to participate in a study abroad? So let's call this plan to participate. And here we go. We can reduce the decimal. Actually, you know what? It's easier. If you can just copy and paste that and it's going to change everything. So instead of you having to remove everything, you can just copy and paste it. That's done. Easy. Now here, we just plan to participate. It's just a yes or no question. So we can put 0 as no and 1 as yes. So we code that variable correctly and then click on OK. And gender, we just go to gender. We just give it gender. Easy. So we just we can give it a name, call it the gender of participants here, gender of participants, and then change that to 0 as well, or you can copy and paste it if it suits you better. And then you can just click on options here. We can put 0 as male. Actually, let's put 1 as male and 2 as female. There's no indication of order, so you can put 1 and 2, whichever suits you. You can even put 5 and 8. The numbers, they don't mean anything. They are completely arbitrary. They are just used as identifier for each of the categories. So this variable is going to be nominal. And this variable here, if you remember, yes or no, it's a dichotomous variable with no indication of order, because here we're just asking if they are going to participate in study abroad or not. So that's also nominal. Mind you, there are some questions which are yes or no that are actually ordinal. For example, do you attend school? So let's say attend school, and we have yes or no. Here, if 0 is no, so they don't go to school, 1 is yes, they go to school. There's a meaningful rank between someone that doesn't go to school and someone that goes to school, and that is an ordinal data, not nominal. A lot of people always confuse this question to be a nominal data because it's a yes or no question. When in this case, this is the absence or presence of a characteristics, and we can see that somebody that is in school is higher in rank than somebody that's not in school. So there's a meaningful rank. But when you look at an example like male or female, there's no meaningful rank between male and female. You can't say male is higher than female based on gender. It doesn't make any sense. But this kind of example, you can see that you can clearly define whether one is higher or lower on a scale. So now you know the difference between the nominal and ordinal data in SPSS, as well as you know how to code your variable correctly into SPSS. Let's switch to data view and start entering data into SPSS. It's Command T if you're on a Mac, and it's Control T if you're on a Windows. Let's start from the first question. Now for these students, so this row represents one person. The next variable, how many hours does that person work a week? Let's give them, say, they work 3. So they work for 25 to 34 hours a week. Day or evening, they work in the evening, so we give them 2 for that. And then time demand. Actually, the easiest way to do this, if you go over here, click on this option here, this will actually show you the actual options, which is much better. So you can flick this off and on to change it from numbers to the options. So here we can just select the options we're looking for. So how many hours do they work? Between 10 to 5 hours. Time demand. Assignment characteristics may be excessive because that person works long hours. And grading, we give the person a grading as well. Never fair. And then grading assignment returned. Let's give that person an option as well here. So graded assignment return, we put 5. Here we can just put like how many times participated in study abroad. We can just put twice. And then plan to participate, we can just give them yes. Gender, we can say they are male or female, so we give them male. And then attend school, we can just say yes or no. Now that's how you enter your variables. So for each of your questionnaire filled out by the participant, you enter them into each of the rows here. One participant here, second participant we go here. Let me just enter the options here so we fill out how. So you see how you enter your questionnaire. And once you fill out all your questionnaire like that, you pretty much have it done. And then you know how to enter questionnaires into SPSS. And that's it really. There's nothing special to it. There's nothing too complicated about it. It's very easy and straightforward once you know exactly what you're doing. It's always better when you try to code your questionnaire first. So for example, instead of me just going straight, I can just start here and give code to each of these options, and it allows me to easily give code. Let's just complete this and just put some variables here. Let me complete this too. Female, no. Let's put no here, and then here, plan to participate, let's give the participant maybe a yes. We just go over here, we go to analyze descriptive statistics and frequency. We get a basic frequency table, put in all our variables, and then get a basic frequency table to show what the result looks like. Alright, as you can see here, we've analyzed all the data we just entered into SPSS. So we see in our data set we have one non-matriculated participant and one junior participant, 34 age range, so one participant, one participant. Now I hope you found this tutorial very helpful. In the next tutorial, I'm going to also include a link to that tutorial under this video. In the next tutorial, I will show you how to enter a multiple response question into SPSS, where you give the participant option to tick the options that apply, or you give them like a rank. So rank these 5 questions in their order of input. Now those type of questions, you will usually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the participant will rank each of the question on a scale of say in their order of importance 1 to 5, where 5 is very important. Those kind of questions are very tricky to enter in SPSS. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to enter those type of questions into SPSS so you can easily code those type of questions into SPSS as well.